Oh boy, CD Projekt Red is wasting no time with this one. CyberPunk 2077 for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S is now available alongside the version 1.5 update and the free trial. Let's talk all about that. Let's talk all about CyberPunk because this was one of the most infamous game launches probably of the last decade or so. I mean, you can pair this with like a Metal Gear Solid 5 of the most infamous game launches over the last half decade. Really though, Metal Gear Solid 5 was a great game. Cyberpunk 2077, on the other hand, a lot of people were pretty underwhelmed by it, and maybe rightfully so. I thought there was a little bit of hysteria when the game initially came out and people rushing to call it the worst game of all time. I know that sometimes I use a lot of hyperbole as well, but Cyberpunk 2077 at no point, unless you were playing on the base PlayStation 4, do I think it was the worst game of all time, and even then there was probably worse games. However, it was a colossal disappointment because the hype was so grandiose for the game. However, now there has been a significant slew of updates that have come to the game, and it is a better game than it was at launch. However, we were still waiting on a true PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S and X upgrade, and now we finally got it, and again, update 1.5 is coming. This is very nice. There's a lot of additions that's being added with this upgrade. But I should also mention off the rip that you can now try Cyberpunk 2077 for free for 5 hours. There is a trial version available that you can just download and you can play, and you'll be good to go, and you'll be able to play a little bit of the game, see how you like it, and if you do like it, you can buy the game at a discount, 50% off for, what was it, $25? So that's a pretty good price for the game, all things considered. Now, you can get it physically for $10, at least you could, over at Best Buy and GameStop during the holiday season last year. I got a physical copy for myself on PS4 with that $10 deal, and I know some of you guys got it as well. I have the game on PC, and I played it on there. But it'll be interesting giving it a run on the PlayStation 5 with this upgrade as well. With this upgrade on the PS5, you get new weapons, additional apartments for V, hairdressing mirror, you get rebalance of gameplay, economy, and loot systems, ray trace and local shadows, various visual quality improvements, spatial headphone audio, improved crowd reactions, and DualSense control features. Now, a lot of those upgrades were previously added on PC, so that is something to note, but now they are going to be available on PlayStation 5 as well, which is great to see. And again, free trial for 5 hours, and then you can play the game for 5 hours, and then you can decide whether or not you do want to buy the game. Overall, what do I think of Cyberpunk 2077? I completed the game, I did quite a bit of the side content, and I played it initially when it came out, so the experience is quite different now. However, even back then, I went into the game knowing that, it was delayed several times. That is an immediate red flag. People should not have had the expectations that they had going into the release of the game when there are that many delays. And yes, we were living in a weird era, the pandemic era, but, even then, when you had like 3 or 4 delays, and the hype for the game just got out of control. Like, I was excited for the game, and I am a gigantic Witcher 3 nut hugger, but, even to me, I was like, yo, people are expecting this game to, like, reinvent gaming or, like, reinvent the wheel or something like this. At the end of the day, that just wasn't gonna happen, and I often mention, if this game was done by any developer, if it didn't have the buzz around it leading up to its release, it would just be seen as, hey, this is a pretty decent RPG, and then on to the next one. And I mean, that's what gaming is. It's very much a what have you done for me lately kind of business. It's all about recency, and, sometimes we are victims of the moment, and I think that really happened with Cyberpunk 2077, and, a year after the release of the game, you see all these posts on, like, social media being like, hey, do you guys think, like, Cyberpunk 2077 didn't deserve all the hate? Was it really the worst game of all time? And yeah, that's because a lot of the hysteria had calmed down at that point. And now people were objectively assessing the game. Again, if you played it on the base PlayStation 4, I can understand. Like, the performance of that version of the game, unacceptable. That was terrible. But, playing it on a PC, if you have a decent PC, yes, the game was buggy. Yes, it had a lot of glitches. It's very reminiscent of Dying Light 2. But there were quality elements of the game. I loved this setting. I thought the story had some interesting elements, although I wasn't like completely hot on it, and based on what we've seen CDPR do in the past with Witcher, although that is an adaptation, so you gotta consider that as well. There's a lot of different elements here. But I thought from a gameplay standpoint, there was a lot of customization. At least there was a decent amount of customization. Probably not as much as people would have liked to see it. I think that was kind of the issue of the game. Again, some of it was the hype that the gaming community built up, but also some of the things that were kind of promised by CDPR. It kind of led to an overwhelming amount of hype, like hype that I don't remember the last time people were that excited for a game. But again, as things have calmed down, people can assess it for what it is, and it is a pretty decent RPG. I believe on PC it started off with like a mixed reception on Steam, and now it's got like mostly positive reviews on Steam. So you see the things have kind of turned around. And again, at this stage of the game, you're not paying $60 for the game. It's not a game I would recommend for $60, but at 25 bucks after you play a 5-hour trial, I think at that point it's a pretty decent pickup. Now, it will be interesting to see what happens from here, because there are going to be more things that CDPR is going to do. There was going to be paid expansions as well, and how is that going to extend the story? Is that going to be compelling enough content for people to buy? Now, obviously, this upgrade is free of charge. They cannot charge for an upgrade like this after the train wreck the game was initially. You have to offer content like this for free. And there is a process of rebuilding that trust that CDPR had, and CDPR was a revered studio, and it's, again, how quickly things change. But it's the same case with like BioWare. Everybody's down on BioWare right now, but if they just drop one or two bangers, the narrative is going to change on them. If CDPR updates Cyberpunk to a point where people actually can assess it and be like, hey, it's a good game, is it what we initially thought it was going to be? Probably not, but it's a fine RPG. Paid 10 bucks for it, it's a pretty decent game, or $25. It's a pretty decent game. On to the next, and then, you know, CDPR puts out another game, and that ends up being a banger. You can like change the narrative of the perception of a studio very quickly. And that's kind of the story with gaming. It's always going to be a what have you done for me lately. And for CDPR, they had to go through this process of, you know, upgrading this game, making it better. And then there is still that issue of the game on the base PlayStation 4 just not being the best thing in the world. I mean, 15 frames per second. There's really no coming back from 15 frames per second or 13 frames per second, you know? That's always going to be an issue. And I should add that the discount is going to be available until March 2nd. I believe the trial is going to be available to download and play until March 15th. So that'll grant you access to Night City for 5 hours, and you can explore the game and get a decent idea of the game. I mean, 5 hours obviously isn't going to let you do like a lot of the content, but it's going to give you a decent idea of like some of the gameplay elements and things like that, and let the game get going. And, you know, maybe it's going to be a reason for a lot of people to revisit the game. Again, go into it with tempered expectations. Do not expect a great RPG, but expect a decent one. And again, for $25, or if you were lucky enough to pick it up for 10 bucks, where it was readily available for that price, I don't know if that $10 price point is coming back, just because now they have the upgrade. Now they know, okay, maybe this game has a little bit of added value to it. I don't know if that price point's gonna come back. But 25 bucks or south of $20, if you can find it for that, I do think it'll be a decent pickup. So go check out the trial for yourself. Again, upgrade available now. That's enough rambling from me. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What were your overall thoughts of Cyberpunk 2077? Again, I thought it was a fine game, like a 6.5, 7 out of 10 kind of game. I didn't think it was a 2 out of 10 because I literally got texts like the day after Cyberpunk came out, and people verbatim were telling me this was the worst game of all time, which again, that's a little bit of a stereo. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, thank you for watching. Sound off in the comment section down below, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.